24 minutes after 8 o'clock. Of course, you're still in the third and final hour of the SWB. Thank you so much for staying with me this morning. Myself and Naz keeping you company till 9 o'clock on this beautiful Friday morning.
Beautiful Friday morning indeed. And as we mentioned earlier, we have a special guest joining us today in studio. That is none other than Rabiah Masters Toya joining us today in studio.
And earlier on we spoke about, South Africans being patriotic. We spoke about all sorts of African things, Naz, and we do have, she's also a South African, yeah.
Yes, of course. And like we said, South Africans are a unique bunch of people, very talented people, of course. We can't forget about that.
Absolutely. But of course, in studio live with us, no stranger to IFM. She's been here before. She had her own show with myself, Rabiah Toya, and it's all about the mindset. And some good news is that she also launched a new book. But let's just greet her this morning. Assalamu alaikum to this morning, Rabiah.
Salam.
How are you this morning?
I'm okay. How are you?
I'm good. It's been a while.
Yeah, flip. I'm even struggling to contain my curse words.
Oh, okay.
I haven't been on radio for a while, but it's good.
It's good, yeah. And just keeping busy otherwise?
You have no idea. This book is driving me crazy. Sleepless nights, trying to figure out which frame of the, when you're trying to get a video, so you're trying to promo everything, and it's not quite the way you want it. Like the first video we shot was, I had a dead eye. It looked like I had a dead eye. And I hated it so much because every time I pointed it out, and Mijai keeps telling me, no, but you look fine. So I'm like, no. First we had an issue with the forehead that was too big. Then we had an issue with the eye. We need to work this out. So it's been extremely busy just trying to get the promo ad out. Now we're looking into a YouTube channel to talk about the book, break things down and so forth. But that's a nightmare on
man, I can imagine. Well, of course, before, and as I mentioned to the listeners, that you have published your own book. But if you can just tell us, before we get into the book, what inspired you to write this book?
Well, when I was a kid, and I state this in the introduction, I really wanted to be the CEO of my own business. To be fair, before COVID, that dream you have of your name being on your building and this company is now yours and whatnot. However, after COVID, nobody really wants to rent office space. So still there, the dream came true. However, like I said, that's where it started. And I had many failures in life. And to a point, and I've mentioned this on the show that I had, homeless, broke, completely down in the gutter, wasn't able to do much of anything, working 2 jobs, just trying to, stay alive and survive. And then with that being said, at that point, the dream of having my own business seemed impossible, right? And then I used this book and all my experiences to allow or show people that no matter what the dream is possible, you can make it if you have the right mindset.
What about mindsets?
Yeah, no, definitely. And I see that the book is titled Life as a Corporate Gangster, where you say that it's simplified business strategies for everyday life. So I'm sure you have included quite a bit of your experiences as well and certain events in your life. So how did you decide which events or experiences to include in this book?
Right, so as the book stipulates, it's business technique simplified. So with wanting to start my own business, what I did was, or what I looked at, how is it possible for a CEO to run a big corporation and still have a normal life? How do they stay on top? So I wanted to know what exactly they do on a daily basis in order for them to be successful. And because I grew up in the ghetto, right, so that's where I came with the, thug life, gangster part, because you see a lot of things when you grow up in the ghetto. And then when I started working, I realized that the corporate side of things isn't really different from your gangsters and how they how they do things. To be fair, they're quite similar. So, for example, if you have a gang, you have certain criterias you have to meet to be within that particular gang, and everybody has their own jobs to do. Same as a business. People don't hire people that don't fit within the company. As well as there's rankings in a gang, there's rankings in a business, there are recruiting processes and so forth. And also if you're not performing within the business, right, there's certain consequences for those things, as well as in a gang. If there isn't performance, well, I would suppose it would probably be more fatal, but it's very similar. So I took the two and I didn't essentially have to do much to bring them together, because as it stands on their own, they have similar principles. And then why I used my experiences is because when I use those business techniques and tips, I use an example from my life and an experience, so that the reader can understand how I incorporated those techniques into my everyday life. This is not like, for example, a 30-day challenge type of thing. This book is more of what I can do to help myself, further myself, do whatever I need to do. And essentially, when people tell you you need to change your bad habits, you need to be better, do better, all these things that tend to tell you need to change as a person. This book doesn't do that. I don't want people to change who they are to fit society's criteria. Everybody's special. Everybody was born a certain way. Everybody has unique talents. There's certain things about the individual person. There's something special about them, regardless of who they are, where they come from, whatever the case may be. So the book says you need to build on. I would like you to build on what you've already got, because you're unique on your own. So society tells you no, change that because it's wrong. I say no, build on it because it's who you are. And I don't see why we should change to accommodate other people. And if everybody was the same person, then life would be boring. Exactly. So why would you want to be around the same people? Because it becomes predictable, and it's boring, and there's nothing exciting going to happen. But any group of friends, you have the funny one, you have the muscle, you have the charmer, all those things. So why would you want to change that? Why would everybody want to be the same? So you have what you have, you are who you are, build on it, and you can grow from there. So that was why I decided that this is what I'm going to use in that book, or do in that book.
So it's almost as if you take the normal man and you say, like you say, don't change who you are, the way you are, stuff like that, and say, instead of changing it, rather build on it.
Correct.
And still be the person that you want to be.
Exactly. So, like I've said in the past, we just changed the mindset a little bit. So instead of you thinking that everything in the negative life is actually pushing you down, no, it's really not. It's teaching you what not to do, So in my 20s, I thought life is always shutting whatever opportunity just when I thought I made it, or just when I think I'm getting somewhere, then it knocks me down. So if I look at it as every single challenge that I've ever faced in life has brought me here. I would never change anything. Yes, it was rough. Yes, there were lots of tears. There were so many tears. But if I didn't learn those lessons and if I didn't go through those things, then I wouldn't be able to speak on any of the things that I speak about in that book. And also, what I tried to do was stay away from, those big words, because people tend to use big words that they self don't understand. So I made this book so that every single I don't care who you are, what position you're in, where you come from. I don't come from money, so I'm fine with saying I came from the ghetto and look where I am now. And that's okay, because where you come from doesn't define or determine who you become. Only you can do that.
And then also I wanted to ask you, Rabiah, what role did research or external sources play in shaping the narrative of your book?
So I'm an executive and management coach. My qualification comes from UCT. Within that, they teach you how to go about coaching other people. Now, my first problem was listening. Unlike listening. I tended to like the sound of my own voice, right? So me and listening when people spoke to me or when people told me things, I wouldn't have listened to them. I do my own thing. So essentially, I started doing that, and it put me in a position to start listening to other people. And I realized that I could get more information from listening to other people than just talking. Once I started coaching executives and managers, senior levels, I realized that they're no different from your regular average Joe. And I used those principles as life coaching as well, and it seemed to work out pretty well. I also used it in my own life, and I'm not as sarcastic as I used to be. So the majority of the to be fair, there's not much about a book like that on Google, so it's very difficult to go look it up. So the research had to come from the experiences. So what I found with other people, I had to look at different experts, so to speak, within their positions, within different businesses, so even in schools. So it was a variety of people, and also, like I said, my educational background. There's a list of things when it comes to the education part, and I'm still not done. I'm not finishing. I'm not done yet. I'm tackling my MBA. So it's essentially all that with the qualification put together and then broken down.
Well, interesting. It's just, I opened your book at chapter 1. It says that I was only a little girl when I realized that my family did not understand me. Everything would be a phase that I would be going through. My personality and how my brain would process things were very different to my brothers. Do you think there are a lot of girls maybe and boys growing up and also thinking my family doesn't understand me? How do you break those barriers?
So yes, there are. Everywhere we go, at some point in our lives as individuals, we feel that people don't understand us. To be honest, sometimes it's a struggle. I had to go through so many things for me to understand myself, right? And imagine, like, at its tender age, I knew that they didn't understand me. Also, I didn't understand how to explain it to them, that I was different. Now, growing up with boys and being the only girl, that in itself was already a struggle. It's more of you come to a realization that when you're a female, and people tend to say, no, you need to compete with men. You don't. Women don't have to compete with men or in an industry or whatever industry they are. Men and women, they complement one another. So I take my strengths and then I use whoever is around me, their strengths, and we work together. Now in the book, we also spoke about on my show about personality colors.
Correct, yeah.
So with that being said, I used those things. Well, I wasn't obviously at the time a kid to use those things, but when I realized about the personality colors, I realized that I'm a red, right? And when I looked into it further, I realized that there's certain ways that I can deal with people that don't get along with me. There's certain ways that I can explain what I like, what I don't like, and I also need to understand that my personality has its own flaws, like everybody else. We all have that thing. I'm a red, so I'm very headstrong, stubborn, dominant. I do what I want. I don't listen. Again, don't listen. So I had to get to a point where I had to realize, okay, this is the things that I'm struggling with. And certain people around me, they don't know how to handle it. So I need to tone it down in order for my business itself to succeed. So obviously we all work with different personalities. So you're not going to get along with everybody, and not everybody's going to like you. Some people just hate you because they don't even have a reason. However, you can choose if you want to, enable that type of thing, or there's ways you can decide, okay, I'm not going to deal with that. I'm not going to be that person that overreacts or underreacts and doesn't get the satisfaction, or not even satisfaction, more to say you don't get the, that internal feeling of, okay, I handled it well.
Mm-hmm.
So you can decide to do that, or you can decide to just let it go. However, if you decide that I want to work on whatever flaws I have so that whoever's around me can deal, and because you have to consider other people's, well, not feelings, but you need to consider other people's personalities and how they do things and how they think. Now, I think that the reason why I tend to consider other personalities first is because I wasn't considered when I was a kid, right? So it's a reflection, let's put it that way. It's reflecting that, okay, at some point in my life I know and understood me, and now as an adult I look at everybody else first, and then I look back at me. I usually tend to ask Mujahid, did I say something wrong? Did I overstep? Because I still need to catch myself. No human being is perfect. We're still going to mess up, and that's okay. No one is look, I'm not expecting anybody to be perfect, because I'm far from it. We've all done questionable things in our lives, and we move. It's either we let those things define us, or we move forward from it. We learn from it, and that's the best way to go forward in life.
And also, Rabiah, I wanted to ask you, how do you hope that this book will impact or inspire readers?
Well, my focus is, with regards to that book, is for anybody and everybody to have hope. That there's always, no matter how dark a situation might be, there's always light at the end of the tunnel, because my dreams came true, right? And I believe that everybody's dreams can come true. They just need to apply themselves.
Yes, and especially for, let's say, younger readers, so you're hoping that it's going to inspire them regardless of what position they find themselves
Correct.
in, what situation and circumstances they find themselves in.
Yes.
They can take some motivation and encouragement from this book as well.
Exactly. That's a spot on.
Perfect. Thank you so much for sharing that with us. And then also I see that you have a certain section here in the book where you state the characteristics of a true leader. Okay, so was that also from personal experiences and just mingling with other people within the corporate world?
So, yes, but also no. It is, you see, when you've worked in corporate and when you speak to, senior levels, the conversation is different,
Yes.
right? Because working for them, there's some type of way. And sometimes they're not always all that great to work for,
Yes.
right? Because some of them are just obnoxious. And then when you speak to them on a one-to-one, on a different type of environment, then you'll see they're just human beings,
Yes.
right? With an obnoxious attitude. It doesn't mean that they're terrible people.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean that some of them actually, to be honest, some of them are actually very great people. In my book, I differentiate between the good leaders and the bad leaders. So for the bad leaders, what I've done in the book is I've spoke on behalf of every single person that has ever come across a terrible leader. So it's like a little bit of a jab toward them, And then I've also thanked all the good leaders, because you don't just find bad leaders, you'll find great leaders. And sometimes those leaders aren't even in leadership positions.
Yes.
Right? You don't have to be able to lead someone and be in that position. You can, sometimes it just comes naturally, but you're not essentially born. Nobody's born with it. We have skills, right? That we can work on them, but I firmly believe that obviously practice makes perfect. So,
Yeah, like you said, we're not born leaders, but you get certain people who just got that ability to lead.
Yes. You see, I like those people. Majority of those type of people, what they have those natural instincts, that potential. And then what's sad is that because they believe that, no, I'm talented, that's my talent, I don't have to practice anything, I don't have to learn more. So within the book, there's something called growth mindset and a fixed mindset. So there's growth and fixed mindsets. So a growth mindset was when you want to continue to learn and build on whatever your talents are. A fixed mindset, which was me, I used to be that way. I don't need to be taught, I don't need to be told, I don't need to learn anything, because I got a natural gift of talking crap. So, so I was in that boat of, I don't need any form of learning. All you are doing is limiting yourself. You are saying, okay, this is it, this little bit of whatever is all I can do. You don't realize that there's actually more you can teach yourself. You don't it's not just studying that gets you, it's your experiences, it's the tricks. We all have life hacks in some shape or form. So to me, I'd rather have the growth mindset than the fixed mindset, because with learning, you learn more about you than you do about anything else. You see how far you're willing to go, how determined you are to learn new things and grow as a person. And again, not changing who you are, but building on you.
Absolutely. I know we've got about 5-7 minutes to go, but I love the quote of Oscar Wilde here in the book: "Be yourself, everyone else is already taken."
Exactly. Now, why would you want to go and be anybody else?
Yeah.
Right? I'm sure you guys have your own talents, right? To my husband, I'm funny. I don't think I'm funny. I think I'm rude. So it's thinly veiled insults that I'd say. But we've all got that thing about us. So now, like when I was in school, I was that, the one with the glasses, that one, that's all just behind the scenes, but also catching on the most nonsense, because the glasses makes you look a certain type of way, but behind closed doors you're doing some other things. That was that one. But listen, my mind just went blank. What was the question again?
No, I was just talking about the quote.
Yes. So essentially, when I was in school, I was trying to be someone else, right? So again, being one person, glasses, and then being another person, and then getting home and being a completely different person in front of the parents. So I was always trying to be someone else until I got to a very good point in my life where I realized that I'm special, and then I said, stuff it. I'm me. No one is going to change who I am. Because there is no one else like me on this planet. So why would I falter, or why would I give it away like that? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that hence the name. You're welcome, mankind.
Yeah, there you go. But do you find also sometimes that people are maybe too tough on themselves, too hard on themselves?
Everybody's tough on themselves. Everybody's too hard on themselves. People think that because if they're not hard enough, they're not going to, they're not thinking that they can actually just take a step back, take a breath. Not everything needs to be done now. Not everything is going to work out now. There's a time and a place for everything. There's a time to laugh, there's a time to cry, there's a time for every single situation in our lives. And there's nothing wrong with being hard on yourself, but there's a lot wrong with pushing yourself into a corner that you really don't need to be in. That type of pushing is detriment to you. It can play severely on your health. Remember, when we stress, we essentially weaken our immune system, and then we're susceptible to everything, getting sick, strange headaches. You know what I mean? So I would suggest that people, especially after we've gone through COVID, being in a lockdown, we need to take it slightly a little bit more ease up on being so hard on ourselves, because when we went through all that, we need to realize South Africans are weird. When strange things happen to us, especially, for example, when lockdown happened, within the first 5 minutes of us being locked down, everybody was sending around memes making fun of situation. This is what South Africans do. We tend to make fun of, and we joke about serious things.
Yeah.
We know what's happening, but we do make fun a lot. And that is the one thing that I can appreciate about every single South African. We are capable of turning any negative situation into a bit of a laugh, right? So we need to take a step back and understand that we've come from that. We made it through. We need to give ourselves that time to recuperate, because what I'm noticing is that a lot of people are very angry these days, and they're not giving them that time to adjust. We all need time to adjust from whatever happened, right? Because remember, it wasn't just COVID that we had to deal with. It's whatever personal issues we ourselves were facing at the time. And I can understand financially it was difficult for everybody. Children weren't in schools. People were losing their jobs. It's a lot of things that went with COVID. So at this point, we need to just breathe. Because remember, every single situation that we're going to go through, we need to understand that our body and our minds, we need time to adapt. Some people they're very good. A lot of people are very good at adapting, but it's not a marathon.
Mm.
You know what I mean? You need to pace yourself.
Absolutely.
Otherwise, you're going to run out of steam.
Yeah. Yeah, just before I let you go, of course, where can people get hold of the book? And maybe you can just give us the cost of the book as well. Where can they get hold of the book?
So, there's a YouTube channel coming soon. It's
Okay.
up. One of the promos already out, so it's under Corporate Gangsters.
Okay.
There's a LinkedIn page under my name, so Rabiah Mrs. Toya, and then it will be launching on Amazon.
Okay.
So it coincides with the 9th of August, Women's Day. So
Like
it'll
that.
it'll be available on Amazon from the 9th of August.
Okay.
$300.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So they can go to visit Amazon and order the book online.
Correct.
Okay.
Yes. Or if they want a hard copy, they can send me an email on. Jeez, I have so many emails. It's unbelievable. On executivegangster69@gmail.com.
Executive Gangster without the SA.
Yes.
69 at
And
Gmail.
there's only one executive up in this company, so it's only me.
Okay. So you can send you an email if they want a hard copy of the book.
Correct. Yes.
Okay.
Or even if they want to pre-order. I'm not wanting to pop it on a pre-order on Amazon. So if they want to, what we can do is they send an email. They can tell me what they wanted, order it, and then we'll sort it out from there.
Excellent. Well, that's interesting.
Yeah, definitely interesting, and I'm sure many people are now looking forward to getting their hands on that book.
Yeah.
Well, I hope so.
Well, the book is called You're Welcome, Mankind, Life as a Corporate Gangster by Rabiah Masters Toya. So get hold of that book. It sounds very, very interesting. I mean, and I think there's a lot of people going probably through the same thing as Rabiah explained. But we must say thank you so much for joining us this
Thank
morning.
you for having me. It's been a privilege to be back. Well, not back, but
Yeah. Nice to have you back. But all the best and with your book, and maybe soon to follow there will be another one coming.
Well, to be completely honest, I'm brainstorming 2 more. One of which is the navigating the corporate politics,
Okay.
And the second one is what I'm trying to do is how corporate life has changed with the generations, the millennials versus the Gen Zs, where the Gen Zs want to work 3 days a week, and the different ethics that the generations have. So I don't know how I'm going to, but I'm looking to make this book a series. So
There we go. Now you make us proudly South African. Well, thank you so much once again, Rabiah, for joining us
thank
this
you
morning.
again for having me.
Okay. Well, Naz, that is also our stint for today. Of course, it's been a long week.
Yes, it's now come to that part of the show where it's time for us to say our goodbyes, our tatas, our salams, our totsiens. Until Monday, inshallah. I'm of course looking forward to being back in studio bright and early Monday morning, inshallah. But until then, it's been an honor, a pleasure, and an absolute treat. From myself, Nazia Abrams. Until next time, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Well, as Naz was saying, you can catch you again bright and early on Monday. Have a fantastic weekend, guys. Have a fantastic Friday. Don't forget, look after yourself, stay safe, and of course, stay in your lane. From Starr and Naz, we out.